Hello Leo, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we'll be looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section will be looking at what is the deeper purpose of this connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you're a cross-watcher, just know that this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Leo, let's jump on in. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I do not feel very good today. I'm very tired and I feel like I'm kind of fighting something off, but I just had this feeling that I needed to do the Leo reading today. I had a few readings planned, but this is the only reading I'm going to do today, and it feels like it is important. Specifically that whoever it's meant for receives it at a certain time. So I don't know necessarily why, what that means, where that, who that's going to land with. But let's start, Leo, with your side of this connection to the person you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. Boundaries. This is about standing tall, like in your truth, or making sure that you are powerful and standing up for yourself in some way. You have fate with triggered. So there's something very karmic in your energy. And I don't necessarily know if it has to do with this connection. My guess is it does, because we're looking at the energy toward this person. But oftentimes this fate card I really see as something karmic, fated to certain experiences until we break free of those, and then we kind of get to experience things beyond that, our destiny, if you will. So I feel like there's something karmic here, something very triggering in your energy, specifically in regard to a person that you're dealing with. And it's really important that you stay in the energy of, again, standing tall, like in your truth, in what you deserve, because I don't necessarily, let's just keep going. This person's energy toward you, Leo. I don't know if you're dealing with somebody that has a tendency to maybe really push your buttons or make you feel guilty whenever you set boundaries or what. It's like this energy causes you to really second guess yourself. This person's energy toward you. Divine timing. That's what I feel about this reading. I feel like this reading is divine timing. But what else about this person's energy? Breakups and makeups. There's a lot of wishy-washiness in their energy. I feel like this person, they could be in and out of your life, or they could be in and out just of your energy in general, meaning that even if they're still in your life, they kind of come back around and they're like, hey, I'm here. And then they, mess things up or end up hurting you, and then they leave again. I don't know. It feels like a cycle here. Because this divine timing card, to me it's almost like what I'm getting through this is the repetition of something, like something coming back around. And the reason that I get that is I heard it's almost time again. I don't know what that means. I don't know necessarily if that's an old cycle coming back into your life. It could be in the form of maybe the person we're talking about, or of another person. But yeah, I kind of hear it's almost time again. It sounds so ominous. I don't know what this is or what's coming through here, but truth of this connection here between Leo and this person. Almost time again. What does that mean? ego and confusion. I'm going to pull, well, that confusion's on the bottom, but let me see. Like, I'm hearing things like you're not wrong for how you feel, and like your needs matter, and you know how you're treated, like you deserve to be treated the way that you want to be treated. Like, I'm hearing a lot of these things. You have ego with codependency. You know, I think for a lot of us, that I'm kind of getting this energy of dealing with somebody who maybe that's not, I'm not taking all like 9 of those cards. Dealing with somebody who maybe is really used to people pleasing. And maybe that's something you're really working on, but there is one person in your life that I feel you still have a tendency to fall into that pattern with. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it is a romantic relationship, I don't know. Maybe this is just a pattern for you in general, but it tends to come out in certain dynamics, in romantic relationships or in friendships or something like that. And I feel like, because our ego is going to trick us into believing that what we've always done is going to be the best decision for us to make. So when we do start setting boundaries and asking for our needs to be met and standing in our truth and speaking up about what we deserve, our ego is going to make us feel really bad for that and almost make us feel as if we are unsafe for doing that, because it's used to the people pleasing, it's used to the not having boundaries, it's used to, you know, overextending or self-abandoning in order to receive love at all. And I feel like this is really a time to tap into your intuitive guidance more than ever before, and to really trust that, you know, how you feel is important, and what you need and what you deserve out of your relationships is not to be negotiated. Like, it's not to be, and I think that that's the thing. It's maybe you're dealing with somebody that like has a really good, has a way of like talking themselves back into your life or your good graces, or like, talking you out of your boundaries in some way where it's like, okay, maybe I'm asking for too much, or maybe like, I don't know, things of that nature. Or like a lot of times when we set boundaries with people, they'll turn it around on you. They'll be like, oh, well, you do these things, or you also aren't perfect. And, you know, that's a manipulation tactic. You know, it's other people's feelings matter too, but that's, you know, how other people feel is never an argument to diminish your feelings. And I just feel like being very aware right now in your energy is really important, especially for like a specific connection in your life. I don't know what this is about. And to be honest with you, I don't think it's really mine to know. I think this is about you and your journey, but I definitely feel that somebody needs to hear this kind of urgently. Maybe you've already set the boundary and you're second guessing it. I don't know. I kind of get this like urgency with this message. Like, I felt it all day today too, because I was trying to have like a slow morning and take it easy to give my body some time to just like be still. And I just was like, I have to do the Leo reading. At one point I was like, I'm never usually like that about readings. Like, usually I just take it as it comes, and I'll do readings as I feel, you know, like I have the energy for them. But today it was like, you gotta do it. You gotta get this message out. So I don't know. Overall theme of this reading for Leo. It's like really a time to trust yourself. Stand your ground. I told you. Stand your ground. That's like the main theme of this. I'm pulling the theme of this. But like, what else is going on here? Is there anything else? Is there another theme of this? Is there something that Leo needs to be aware of? Someone is unhappy in inconsistencies. So, okay, paying attention to actions over words is really important too. You know, something that I've learned in my own life is that, you know, it's really easy for people to say like, I'm here for you, or like, I'm going to change, or I'm going to do better, or whatever. Words are easy. Actions are hard. And like really paying attention to how somebody is showing up in your life. And maybe this is multiple people, but this feels like one specific connection that maybe you have a little bit of like a weakness for. And I think that maybe there's a lot of reasons for that. But I do definitely feel that, just again, standing your ground, not feeling guilty for setting boundaries or for wanting to be treated a certain way. Like, just because you're not perfect and just because you have room to grow doesn't mean that you deserve anything less, and I think that that's where people really get tripped up. It's like, well, I make mistakes and I'm not perfect. Okay, sure, everybody's imperfect, but you also still deserve a certain level of respect and effort and reciprocation and honesty and commitment when it comes to your relationships, not just romantic ones, but your relationships across the board. All right, Leo's side of this connection, boundaries with triggered. I feel like you're dealing with a very manipulative person, but like not there. This person doesn't seem like they're very outwardly manipulative. This connection in your energy is showing up as very stagnant. 8 of Wands in reverse. The Lovers in reverse here. There's a lot of frustration that you carry around this, and that makes a lot of sense because I feel like you keep getting screwed over, to be quite honest with you. Could be dealing with a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, but you also have other fire sign energy here. Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. I'm going to take both of these. I kind of feel like they're providing one message here. This person, and you don't have to be dealing with either of those. I also kind of got like Taurus energy at the beginning of this too, so I don't know. Take that as it resonates. 10 of Wands. Like, I get guilt trippy too. Okay. You have a lot of frustration around this connection, and I think that makes a lot of sense because I feel like, this is kind of this energy of you've tried to explain, you've tried to be open and honest about what you need, but just feeling like you're not getting met with the same level of respect and love and commitment, all the things, right? Compassion, understanding that you're giving. But there is a lot of love here. And I think that also complicates things because it's like, I do feel like you have love for this person. I feel like, because you have the 2 of Cups here, I do feel like you want this connection to work. I feel like you want this to be, all that it can be. And I think that you have done your part in trying to make that happen. Again, I am not saying you've been perfect, but I do feel that you have done what you can to be the best version of yourself in this, to try to show up better, to be understanding. Because like with this Queen of Cups, I do also see this as like you being very understanding and very compassionate and almost like a little bit maternal, even if like you don't have to be a female for this to resonate, but like just very like caring and I got you and I'm here for you. And I think that you've been left high and dry one too many times in this connection, to be honest with you. This 10 of Wands, I feel like you have a tendency to really carry the burdens of others. This probably means that you have a lot of empathy and you have a lot of understanding for what other people are going through. So maybe that's why you've tolerated a lot in this connection, is because you've kind of, maybe you really understand this person, or you really, you do see them in a very, unconditional love kind of light. And I think that that's where things get really confusing and complicated, is it's like, how do I love someone unconditionally, but yet I'm so fed up with like certain behavior or lack of action or whatever. Unconditional love and unconditional empathy does not equal unconditional tolerance. Loving someone unconditionally means unconditionally accepting them. It doesn't mean unconditionally pouring into them regardless of how they show up for you. You are allowed to have standards and you're allowed to have expectations. And I think for a lot of us, and I will say especially women, I'm not saying you have to be a woman just to resonate with this, but we're taught that we are more lovable when we don't have needs and when we don't have desires or expectations, when we're just expected to just kind of be treated however we're treated, but then show up as our best self always. And that's not fair. Like eventually your cup is going to run dry because you're going to be pouring your heart, mind, body, soul into people who, aren't watering you and returning that favor. And I think that there is because this tower, this feels very repetitive. It's like one thing after another with this person. I feel like they always tend to kind of blow this connection up in some way. And I think that it's almost as if you've started to ask yourself almost, am I asking for too much, or are my expectations too high? And whoever this is, whoever you're dealing with, whoever I'm reading for, you need to know that you are never, ever, ever asking for too much when you are being asked to be loved well, treated well, to be respected, to be showed up for, regardless of whether or not you're imperfect. And I think that that's the other aspect to that is you don't have to be perfect to expect good things. And I think that in this connection, there's a lot of, like I said, kind of second guessing yourself, second guessing your worth, second guessing I want to take these actually. Second guessing your needs, whatever the case is. And I feel like for some reason, this is specifically a person who has this ability almost to really get under your skin or to weasel their way back into that's what I hear, weasel their way back into your good graces or back into your heart or back, really play on that empathetic side. And like I said, it does feel a little bit manipulative. But let's see. I mean, let's just kind of take a look at let's just take a look. I'm really intrigued by this reading already. This person's energy toward you, Leo. It almost feels like this person's coming back around, but they haven't changed. That's the vibe that I'm getting, but I'm getting ahead of myself because I haven't even pulled cards. But like I said, when I feel very drawn to do a reading, I typically start channeling some of the messages and just the understanding of why that needs to be delivered in a certain time. It's going back to what I said, it was it's almost time again. And that's, to me, kind of how I'm interpreting that. But this person's energy toward you, breakups and makeups with divine timing. Okay, this person's feeling hopeful about this connection, which is interesting because you're very much not. Ten of Pentacles in reverse. I feel like they have a history of really undervaluing you, undervaluing all that you have to give, undervaluing your place even in their life. And I think that it's kind of an energy of taking advantage of your kindness almost. And it's not that I don't necessarily think they're doing it intentionally. There's the Queen of Wands, or Queen of Cups again. They're the Queen of Wands. I don't think they're necessarily doing it intentionally. I feel like this person is used to receiving a lot, but not so used to giving. They're used to the imbalance in their relationships of being, because it's definitely giving, give or taker energy. So you're giving a lot to this and this person's taking a lot. And I feel like you're getting really fed up with that imbalance. This person, I think, because I feel like this is a connection that's in separation, or at least there's some sort of distance here emotionally. Things are not like they used to be. Things are not where they once were. And I feel like this person, because I do feel, if this is romantic, I do feel like they have feelings for you here. I do feel as if there's desire here. If it's not, I do feel like this person cares about you. Their actions might not show it, but I do feel like they care about you. However, I feel like the way that they show up in their relationships is very, like I said, very imbalanced. So the way that they show up is, I feel like they really undervalue people's place in their life and how much other people give them. And I think that they expect a lot for giving very little in return. This person's energy toward you. This person sees you as the Empress. they do view you in a very admiring light. I feel like they admire you in a lot of ways. The Hermit in reverse is where things get a little iffy, because it's like I don't feel like this person's done much self-reflection. And that's the thing, is it's like they want this connection, but they want the connection as it's been. They want to be the taker and have you as the giver. They want this imbalance. They want to just get what they can from this. And not it. I can kind of resonate with this energy based on the kind of person that I used to be. Before I did a lot of healing and growing, I was very selfish in a lot of my relationships. I didn't intend to be. I'm also not justifying it by any means, but I was deeply wounded, and that came out as selfishness, which was a form of self-protection. I searched for validation in relationships, and I could never get enough of it, so I needed to get as much as I could from it. I had manipulative tendencies. I'll be completely honest about it, although I've always been honest about that, because I learned a lot about those types of people from having been one at one point in my life. And, I did a lot of healing, and eventually I kind of ended up on the other side of relationships where I dealt with people who were like I was, but it was like I had so much understanding and compassion for them that I was like, no, I get it. You're not a bad person. You're just wounded, right? Hurt people. But then I did even more healing, and I found myself in more of a, just a different place in relationships altogether. And I think that, when it comes to this person, I don't feel like this person's a bad person. When I talk about manipulative tendencies, we all have manipulative tendencies. Every single person on this earth has manipulative tendencies. People pleasing is a form of manipulation, because it's a way of pretending to be okay with something when you're actually not, right? Like, manipulation is a safety tactic. It's a way to gain control over a situation, and it comes out in so many different forms. It doesn't always mean, oh my gosh, this person is straight up a narcissist, okay? Narcissistic personality disorder, isn't always present. So when and I'm not saying you're not dealing with a narcissist, that's whatever. What I'm getting at is I don't feel like this person is a bad person. I feel like they have a very limited capacity to show up healthily in their relationships, and they're also very disconnected from themselves. I see that with the Hermit in reverse, very disconnected from their own self-awareness and self-reflection. And again, that's a protective pattern. And I think that there hasn't been a whole lot of healing, definitely not a lot of growth or change. I feel like there's still, because especially with the Chariot in reverse, it's like there's no forward movement here. Things have been, this person has stayed very much the same. And I feel like that's where, even if there is a desire for this connection, I feel like it's important for you to know that this cycle would repeat unless this person changed. And I do feel, Leo, as if you're kind of in like a love me well or leave me alone kind of energy. And I think that that's really important. But I do feel that the reason that you're really needing this reading is to keep your awareness on high alert. And I'm not, I don't want to fearmonger, and I don't want to say you have all of these things to be afraid of. But, when you start setting boundaries, when you start standing your ground and you start finding somebody is sweet talking you or making a bunch of empty promises or making you feel guilty even for having boundaries and needs, like, let this reading be a sign that you are not in the wrong for knowing what you deserve and what you want in your relationships. And you don't need to be perfect in order to have it. And this person isn't going to be able to be what you need and what you deserve unless they do heal. And there's a lot of healing, I feel like, that this person needs, but a lack of awareness. And the first step in healing is awareness, right? It's like any AA meeting or any AA journey. It's like the first step in recovery is admitting you have a problem, right? So if you're very disconnected from yourself and your wounded patterns and the ways in which you harm others, again, I can say this because I've been in that place. You don't think you need to change. It's easier to point the fingers at other people and say, well, no, you need to change and you're not perfect and you do all these things wrong, than it is to actually look within and say, okay, sure, other people might have problems too, but I also have issues, and I need to look at those because, it's affecting my life and the people that I love. But that is a decision that each individual has to make, and a lot of people don't make because it is not easy to heal. It's so much easier to stay the same, and it's interesting because I feel like this person like feels hopeful about this connection. I think they're going to be a little bit surprised in where you're at when it comes to it. And I think that it's important for you to stand your ground. Stand your ground, stand tall on your boundaries, when it comes to what you need, and just make sure that you proceed with caution, especially because I do feel like this person is returning. Or for some of you, it might be a similar dynamic. Now, I don't want every single person that comes into your life for you to be like, is this it? Is this it? Right? Like there's a difference between, pushing everybody away and just staying in tune to your awareness. And I feel like that's really what Spirit's trying to bring forth is you don't want to repeat a cycle, right? You don't want to find yourself back in this tower moment with this person. And if that's the case, making sure that you are really choosing the route of continuing to, say, love me well or leave me alone. All right, in between this connection, you have codependency with ego. I'm going to dive deeper into this, looking at the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Any information for that is in the description box below. Before I jump on over to the extended, I want to reiterate, I've posted this all over my channel already, but I know that not everybody sees it, so I'll be talking about it at the end of my readings for the next couple of weeks. But I am hosting a workshop on September 19th at 6 p.m. Central Time, all about manifesting financial freedom, transforming your relationship with money. I'm very excited about this workshop. It's been a long time coming. For those of you who aren't familiar with my story and my past life, before my spiritual awakening, before I healed, before I grew, I was a financial advisor. I went to school for it. I had all the certifications for this field, and I was very passionate about it at the time, but obviously things change, and I'm definitely more aligned with my purpose now doing what I do. But I do think that there's a lot of power and knowledge around finances, and being able to kind of take that practical advice and pair it with the spiritual approach that I now have to financial freedom, and just a lot of the lessons that I've learned on my path to finding my own financial freedom. I think that, putting that all together in a workshop is something that I think can be very impactful. So I'm really excited about it. Any information for this is at the very top of the description box below. Like I said, this is all about financial freedom and manifesting that in your own life, coming from both a practical and a spiritual side of that. So tickets and all of the good stuff, if you attending live isn't necessary. If you want to be a part of it, you can purchase a ticket, and you will also receive a recording the next day. So if you would rather just do it on your own time, that's absolutely okay, but you would just purchase a ticket like normal. So with that being said, thank you so much, Leo, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Leo.